They say power attracts the entitled. I say it exposes them. Last Tuesday, I was sipping my morning coffee dockside, watching the mist lift off Lake Westridge, when 2 squad cars pulled up on the private launch ramp beside my boat. Not just any boat, my boat. Registered, insured, and moored exactly where it's supposed to be. An officer steps out, squints at a clipboard, and asks, "You the guy with the unauthorized vessel complaint?" I already knew who made the call. Karen, blonde bob, HOA badge, permanent scowl. She'd been lurking around the lake for weeks like a swan with a vendetta. Apparently, she didn't appreciate that. An unsightly boat was disturbing her. Neighborhood aesthetic. But what she didn't know, what no one in her clipboard, Crusader crew knew, was that I'm not just a resident. I'm the Harbormaster, legally appointed, with full authority over the docks, the slips, and the water line extending 300 feet from shore in every direction. So when Karen called 911 on me, she didn't just mess up. She reported the lake's law to the lake's law. And that was the beginning of a very public unraveling. Let me back up a little. Lake Westridge is a private reservoir nestled between 3 upscale developments, Westridge Estates, Lakeward View, and the Pines. All 3 have their own HOA chapters. All 3 like to pretend they own the lake. They don't. The lake, and the marina that feeds it, are governed by the Westridge Water and Recreation Authority, a municipal body set up in the 1980s, when the dam was first constructed. That body appoints a harbormaster to oversee all vessel registration, safety, and dock usage. That's me. I moved into one of the legacy homes along the western ridge, inherited from my uncle who, guess what, was the harbormaster before me. I took over his duties after retiring from the Coast Guard. You could say, I know a thing or two about maritime law, and people like Karen. Karen was the new HOA president over in the Pines. She took over in what I can only describe as a bloodless coup, ousted the former president in a late-night Zoom vote, and immediately launched what she called the Beautification and Order Initiative. Basically, she hated anything that didn't fit her country club catalog aesthetic. Flags, regulated. Flower beds, inspected. Boats, only pre-approved designs, colors, and mooring methods allowed, which is where I came in. She spotted my boat, an old but meticulously kept 27-foot Bayliner with a navy blue hull, and decided it was too industrial looking for her lakeside vision. At first it was notes, slipped under my windshield. Concerned neighbor kind of stuff. Then came the emails. Then somehow, a formal complaint landed in the HOA newsletter, even though I'm not part of her HOA. When I called her to clarify, she told me, quote, all residents of the lake fall under visual compliance. I laughed. She didn't. And that was the first time she tried to have my boat towed. Didn't work. The local tow company knew better. But that was just the beginning. A week later, I find a laminated notice zip-tied to my boat's railing. Vessel in violation of HOA ordinance. 4.6b. Must be removed within 48 hours. There is no such ordinance. Then she tried calling the marina to demand I be delisted. The marina forwarded her call to me. When that didn't work, she tried a different tactic, accusing me of running an unlicensed business on HOA property, because a few of my friends sometimes joined me for fishing on weekends. Next came the emergency HOA meeting, where Karen brought up my boat as an environmental hazard. Neighbors told me she passed around dramatic photos of oil slicks, which weren't even from my boat. I started documenting everything. Emails, texts, notices. I even set up a security cam to catch her sneaking onto my dock one night and measuring the distance between my boat and the shore. One morning I found a construction cone and do not launch tape across my dock. The kicker? It was zip-tied shut. The sheriff came out that time. He recognized me immediately. We shared a coffee on the dock while Karen watched from her deck, seething. That's when she escalated to her biggest play. A 911 call claiming I was moored illegally and refusing to vacate a community dock. Of course, the dock is on my land. Registered, deeded, and surveyed. But the officers didn't know that yet. So there I was, standing calmly as they approached. I handed them my ID, license, and a laminated copy of the Westridge Water and Recreation Authority charter with my name under, Harbormaster. Their eyes widened. One officer gave a slow nod. Karen, I said, loud enough for her to hear from her deck, you might want to brush up on the municipal code before you call the cavalry. That moment? That's when I started planning the full takedown. First, I called the city clerk and had a formal letter drafted notifying Karen and her HOA that any interference with harbor operations would be treated as obstruction. Then I printed out laminated notices that read, "This dock is governed by Westridge Water and Rec Authority. Unauthorized regulation attempts are unlawful." I posted one at the top of the dock, another on the boat, a third I sent directly to Karen via certified mail. Then I did something even more satisfying. I scheduled a public water safety day right off my dock, invited families, gave free boat rides, passed out brochures. The sheriff's department sent a patrol boat. Even the mayor showed up. Karen? She tried to shut it down by filing a noise complaint. The dispatcher told her it was an official city-sanctioned event. People started talking. Neighbors realized I wasn't some rogue boat guy. I was literally the authority here. Karen's grip on her HOA started slipping. At the next meeting, 2 board members resigned, and her treasurer demanded an audit of HOA funds. By now, I had my final play ready. The city council received a formal complaint from me, backed by video, photos, and legal documentation, alleging harassment, false reporting, and illegal tampering. Karen was summoned to a hearing. Her defense? I didn't know he was the Harbormaster. The council wasn't amused. She was fined $2,500 for misuse of emergency services and issued a restraining order from my property. But the real cherry on top? The HOA, embarrassed and now under scrutiny, voted to strip Karen of her presidency. Her beautification initiative canceled. As for the dock, I added one last touch. A polished brass sign that reads, Harbormaster's Dock, Private Jurisdiction. Underneath it, complaints welcome. Just bring a life jacket. So here's the thing about entitlement and overreach. It usually floats, until someone punches a hole in it with the truth. Karen thought she could control everything she could see, but she forgot. Real authority doesn't wear a name tag. It carries weight, legal, civic, and sometimes nautical. I still take my coffee down to the dock every morning. Only now people wave. A few even ask for fishing tips. As for Karen, last I heard, she's trying to run for HOA president in another neighborhood. God help them. Ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA? Comment below. Let me know your story. And if you made it this far, comment Harbormaster Justice, so I know you're one of the real ones. Until next time, anchor deep and stand your ground. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more crazy stories. Goodbye.